Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I've got one here that's on Fortress. It's a free-for-all game. Terminate the Commander, I believe, is the game mode. Yep. So you win this by basically killing all the enemy commanders, which tend to be hidden in the forts here. So you start with a fort, a bunch of walls around the base, some turrets and such. Good defences there. You start with a bunch of houses. So you get to see the very rare Trade Federation houses over here. So in the yellow we have Nexu playing as the Trade Federation. Up here is the Empire player, that'll be Fryup in the green. Far left here we've got John on the Blue Rebels, and down at the bottom here we've got the purple Gungans with Risk playing as them. So without further ado, let's start the game. Don't want Fuel Lock, don't want Fog of War, okay. You start off with a ton of workers as well, so it's a bit like a bunch of poorly placed farms, and if you've played the game enough, these will upset you. Give you an aneurysm at their horrible, shoddy placement that the developers seem to have allocated. These are the best looking ones so far. Seems to be a bit of variance on these. These are not too bad in comparison. But still, you've got these little gaps that'll absolutely aggravate you. So I'll just speed it up a little bit just to get it out of the early game as such. You won't expect to see much aggression against each other because of the walls, though if you did time it right, you could probably kill a gate very quickly with Mounties, but they've still got a fort and turrets that they can, you know, redistribute their workers to and hide behind. There seems to be a couple of Rontos kicking about to give some extra food. See that John will have a bit of an advantage here with the Rebel farm bonus on the other players. Fryup getting a lot of farms down. So I think everyone is just going to get a lot of food income set up and then head off just for a fast T3 because of the added defense of the walls. And particularly it being a free-for-all game as well, that's kind of the route that you would go to. Because if you go and rush some player, you're kind of just weakening both of you. As the other players will go up to tech level 3 and then basically outpace you with the higher tech units like the strike mechs and the air, the fighters and such. So your objective should really be turtling up, getting your economy going, getting into T3, making sure you've got good defense against anti-air, which most people would tend to go for because you can just fly over the walls. It's a good defensive and offensive use of that unit. So Risk is actually picking up the Holocron here. Might see some other players going for that as well. Great to have in a free-for-all, that just that extra Nova income. The games do tend to go late as well with the before stuff that I've just laid out, with it being a more passive, economy-orientated game mode. See John putting some sentry posts here just to give himself some vision, as you can see. Quite nice, just you keep an eye on what things are going on. Another aspect that you probably want to get done is securing these extra resources that you can see out with the walls. So getting command centers down here, getting some workers to mine them early, and then starting to establish that map control. Because you don't want to get knocked out of the center of the map. You have a lot more options the deeper you are in the center of the map there. So that's everyone starting to hit tech level 3 now. Then we'll get to see what kind of strategies they might be implementing other than the turtling and booming. So just check how many holocrons we've got here for us. Just the one. 4 sentry posts. Just putting a nice line here for John so you can see what's going on. And being rebels as well, he gets the great air speeder, which will stop any sort of mech harassment. It's going to serve him quite well into the late game here as well, with Galactic Empire and Trade Federation, and Gungans to be honest. He's facing all 3 of the best mech civs in the game. So speeders are very, very good against those. A couple of air bases being laid down here for Fryup. Get some air to defend himself and be offensive, I imagine. Interesting little farm there, not completed its picture. So there won't be too much going on for a wee while. People also getting hit by a bunch of their farms expiring. I think the first 5 that you start with the command centres are starting to expire. Anti-air turret being put down. Fryup's got some fighters now that he's looking to sort of sort out here. Maybe do a bit of exploring and scouting. That poor Ronto, not been devoured. These guys getting a command centre out here. For Risk. So everyone seems to have gotten a bit of a command centre. Other than Fryup here, who's basically gone for the sort of tech buildings. With the 2 air bases and the war centre. He's scouting out Nexu here, but Nexu's very well turtled. He is sniping 1 or 2 workers, but not too much damage done. Again, Fryup's a bit behind the other players as such because of the lack of command centres for himself. And he's going for a heavy weapons factory now as well. Very aggressive, I'm assuming. Maybe going to do a pummel drop of some sort. Maybe try and kill someone quickly. Not too sure. I think you'd be much better just getting the command centres and getting your worker count up. Maybe on about 3 or 4 command centres you could, you know, commit to some sort of militarised plan. So John identifying that he can wall out this little area of the map for himself. It's a little safe area for him to place maybe some farms and stuff. Stop any sort of strike mechs and such, you know, looping around behind his units. Or his workers over there. Although he has rebels and you could just rely on the speeders. The Risk just booming away. Fryup still scouting with these fighters. Not a good trade here for John. Speeders don't do too well against the fighters, but they do alright, but in an even numbers trade like that, the fighters are going to come out on top. See John putting down an airbase now to get some fighters of his own. So Fryup's got another command centre down now. And a 3rd one on the way. Oh, look at all those fish! It's the only area with water on the map. Wow. That's really nice. Should get on that. If he'd scouted that earlier as well, he could have just gone straight into that at T1. A couple of shipyards. Wouldn't have to build all those farms. So I think Risk's the only player here that's not seen some sort of combat here. And Fryup seems to be the big aggressor of the game, who's harassed both Nexu and John here with his Empire TIE fighters. Interesting gate there from Risk. Strike mech maybe trying to just kill the workers. He doesn't want him having any sentry posts and stuff. Same idea here from Risk. He's got his own one. Another cheeky gate from Risk, just out in the open. I'm assuming there's maybe some walls or foundations laid across. Not too much. Maybe just try to narrow the pathing of any units here. Risk floating a lot of resources. He's having a very good time here with his workers. A lot of carbon. Could get a lot more command centres laid down. Get himself off to T4 as well. Just put the game time on because that's a bit annoying not having that there. Seeing where we're at. So there's the speeders being very useful against the strike mechs. How's Fryup getting on? Still a decent amount of fighters, but it has worked out for him in the sense that nobody's given him any grief. Refresh those as well. What you do notice on this map is you start to unwall yourself as you mine the carbon, which you might want to correct later with walls or buildings. Oh, I'd really love to see these get fished with trawlers. So such a big differential it could be. So John hunting down the local crate dragons. Risk starting to push out now, so he's laying down a power core here, so we're going to see some heavy weapons factories put down. His little mechs that he's been making from his sort of in-house mech factory will sort of support them there, and he'll maybe look to get the artillery out. Mech factory as well. Some troop centres, they're going for the... potentially the repeater troopers from the Gungans, who get a bit of extra range. That's their differential there in terms of the tech tree. Can be quite good. Don't often see them from Gungans, it's more usually mech and artillery. Just because they've got a lot more hit points and it's a bit more robust army. There's a nice area of farms here for Nexu. Sort of out of the way, shouldn't see too much combat. He's built his military production sort of in the back here. Maybe just wants to get an army up and then establish a more forward one. Whereas the alternative here risks getting it right in front of his base. So I think most of the players are hitting about T4 now. Just Nexu and John who are not there. John's almost there. Nexu halfway there. So everyone's getting teched up, eco-boomed, and then they're going to have to fight one another to secure the resources in the map. All the extra carbon, the ore, nova, holocrons, etc. and the map control itself. And as a reminder, to kill each other they have to destroy the commanders that are hidden in the fortresses. You need to terminate the commanders, as the game mode lays out in the name. So a few units flying out there from Nexu. It looks like he's going to get some more forward production, these heavy weapons factories. Houses, sentry posts and such, just giving John some vision all around. Risk sort of doing the same. He's got a fort up here now though. I imagine he's got a ton of money. Yeah, he's definitely got the most eco here. Not enough food production though. Seems to be lacking on that a bit. See the contrast between the carbon and the food here. 100 workers as well. Still room for about 50 more. And John's going to struggle a little bit if this army gets together and starts pressing him, just because rebels have to rely on like air cruisers, Jedi, T4 air, troopers. You require a sort of a jack of all trades sort of army. Lots of different units to fulfill little roles there. In comparison to the mech civs, where it's just sort of me spam mech, me win game. There's got to be a bit more finesse to it, and it can take a little while to get that teched up. So he's upgrading his turrets, maybe just to help hold here. No shield generator though, maybe get one in the back where it's not too in range of cannons. You see the army much quicker out here, though Risk doesn't have too much anti-air put down. Should really stop these turrets going up because they'll really strengthen this, and Risk could just leapfrog his way forward with anti-air turrets if he gets them to sort of the advanced stage. Then the air won't be able to play much of a role in stalling this army coming forward. See, he's let him get the shield up as well, so it's going to be very difficult to kill these units with a small amount of air that he's got. On the other side of things, Fryup's gotten his army out a lot quicker than Nexu here, and he's pressed. And remember those, he's sort of pushing forward with buildings here and they've all gone down. And Fryup is starting to move, and he's almost at his fort. I don't think the commander's there anymore though, it's probably been moved. But no shield generator here to defend. Nexu's only got mech destroyers out at the moment, whereas Fryup's got these heavy artillery to do damage to the buildings and do AoE damage and such. So Risk really pushing forward here. Only a couple of Jedi to try and stall this out, convert the cannons. Managed just to snipe the power core, good for him. Cut these units' health down, removing the shields from them. And on the other side of things, we've got the shield generator leapfrog in here for Fryup. as he starts to push and create like a bigger arc against Nexu's forces here. See, the troopers don't do too well against the shielded troopers and the mechs here. Not in small numbers. Plus you got to get a lot of upgrades for them. They're still lacking quite a few. But he is holding so far. Being able to convert the cannons sort of slowed this push down a bit, because there's not too much damage against buildings. And 2 shield generators here as well. Quite tricky to get in range of these with the walls and such. Like the Jedi can sort of stand about here and convert the cannons. The other side of things, it's just mech v mech under shields. Looks like Nexu's mucked up his upgrades here. You see how he's missing a good 12 HP I think on each one. Risk not upgraded his turrets, instead just placed 3 of them. It would be better to just get the upgrades. He's getting some nice little walls here just in case these guys stop fighting each other and go for him. Now we've seen Nexu taking a lot more better trades here, killing a lot of these mechs. I think he's just had the greater numbers. Not enough of these artillery to make enough of a differential in that fight. So he's got on top of them here. Just ran into shields and started killing the units as they're spawning now. Fryup needs to regroup his forces. This is all sort of lost at the moment. Risk's army is quite diverse, and I don't think there's enough hit points on the field to just push right through. So John is doing a good job of stalling here with the Jedis. Making the assault mechs is not a good ploy here, as they're just going to get converted. Same with the cannons. Needs to be a lot more units out in the field. Need to have enough damage output as well, just for the Jedi when they go to convert something, sort of guarantee that they're going to die for the conversion. And then all this ore has been lost as well from the 3 turrets that were made. Now some pummels rallying forward here from Nexu. These fighters not going to do too much. Can't make assault mechs in the middle of that, they'll just get one tapped by the units all around. Not going to do enough damage. Couple of Jedi here, stalling. All John needs to do, stall and just get all his research. Get all the things he needs to make the rebels so annoying to deal with. Fryup, don't know if he's made he hasn't made any new production elsewhere. He's just started it now. As I said, he needs to regroup because none of this is working out for him. Any units that get built are just going to die instantly. See Risk regrouping his army here. Starting to send out some strike mechs to be annoying, but does have speeders to defend, so they will die fairly quickly. And they move about the same speed as them as well, so. But little pockets of workers outside like this are definitely going to get killed. So these pummels are starting to build up now, and with the upgrades they're doing a lot of damage and killing the buildings very quickly. So Fryup's definitely on a timer here. 3 mech factories, not going to cut it. He's got to build a lot more and get a lot more units out to deal with this army. And it's now getting substituted with strike mechs as well, so there won't be any sort of mounty antics that he could do, which tend to do very well against the mech destroyers. So he's probably just going to have to get a lot of mech destroyers of his own out. See, he's got the shield set up, but there's no units to stand at the shield. So the pummels might march their way through there soon. Risk regrouped, back on the move. A lot of troopers. I think it'd be better to just go pure strikes and mech destroyers. against rebels. See, the rebel troopers have got about 30 more health. He's got T4 here as well, which kills these very quickly. I think you want, on a map like this as well, like, because you see there's not huge forests everywhere. You want your armies to be cost efficient as well. So have as much HP as you can and be cost effective. I like to see a shield or a Famba generator or something here with this army as he pushes forward. These workers need to be building things to at least, even if it's like a stalemate trade that you've gained some ground, you've set it up and you're starting to announce more threat on your opponent. So there we go with a shield generator. And you'll need to build anti-air turrets as well. So here comes the air cruiser. One of the other things, as I said, rebels need to have basically sort of almost one of every unit. On the other side of things, it looks like Fryup's never gotten those units out. And he's just sort of died here to Nexu. I think it's more he's resigned and lost his commander there. So that's going to make things a bit awkward for Risk and John here, as we wonder who Nexu's going to attack first. So turrets are up, he's still not upgraded them. Really slipping on that one. Hunting down workers still with the strike max here. Air cruiser stopping this army, pushing too far forward. Jedi count starting to increase, maybe got 6 or 7 now. Makes it difficult to push without cannons. And then the air cruiser are going to come forward, take some shots. Emboldened by the fact that there's no advanced turrets. And I think Nexu probably goes for Risk here, given just where his economy is, who he's close to here. But he is just clearing up what's left of Fryup's base. So these two have got time to try and decide a winner between them before Nexu arrives on the scene. Risk's been very annoying with these strike mechs. You can see all these farms are abandoned now, even with the speeder protection. It's gotten through this tiny little gap here. There's one here as well, I think. He's trying to plug that with houses. There's a bit of attrition facing Risk's army here though. See, he's really struggling for carbon. He only built 10 more workers than we saw earlier, so he's not made a huge economy. He could have about 40 more workers just grabbing all the carbon for himself. Doesn't want to be the same amount of units as the rebel player, because the rebel player's got so many ways to influence the fight, with the air cruisers, the fighters, the Jedi. It's going to slowly just lose out on resources, I think, with the cost efficiency of the rebel units. Particularly when they're trading troopers into troopers. So Nexu's still being a wee gentleman about things, I'm assuming. Just killing the base here, not getting involved yet. Risk again try to send more strike mechs, which maybe to his detriment at this point. As you can see, he's hemorrhaging carbon with this. Carbon that he sorely needs to reinforce the front line. Things are getting a bit quiet now. I think the reality's sort of set in here. Having a wee think about what they're doing here. Risk in particular. Try to grab this carbon before he gets pushed back. I feel like John must be sitting on a lot of resources, yes. So you can see the difference here, the carbon. Just the efficiency of the fighters and the air cruiser, the Jedi. He's slowly saving up a bank of resources. Which means a lot in free-for-all. Particularly as you get towards the end, because the map starts to get mined out. You want to be as cost effective as possible. It's another air cruiser shot. Still anti-air turret 1, no upgrade. Worker's very close. They're even walking into Risk space at the moment. Building the assault mechs again, that are just going to get converted. Air cruisers just taking nice shots here. Attack ground. Just out of range of the turret. At least like to see the anti-air mobile shooting at it. These workers wrapping around just to get more carbon. Somebody using the little 400 Nova thing in the fort there that'll ping on the map and show you where everyone's commanders are hidden. It's a feature of this game mode. So Risk getting his own air cruiser here. Need to wait a little bit though before it's got its shields at maximum. You see them charging up there. He's got to watch out a bit because there's the fighters from John that could maybe surge forward and snipe it. And there's not too much of a deterrent towards the fighters because of the lack of anti-air. Heavy anti-air turrets. I don't think John's made too much fighters though, and he's maybe lost some of the ones he had. And we can see that Nexu has grown tired of killing what's left of Fryup's base and is now running forward into the middle of the map here. Murdering many astro droids of John's over here. Lots of workers going down. Only a few anti-air, but there doesn't seem to be too many speeders out on the map. Might be building up a lot of Jedi that we can't see though. We could maybe stall and convert a lot of this army. I don't think Risk will be pushing too far forward into this though. So we've got the advanced turret just taking pot shots at everything. But Nexu has a lot of units out and they're just surging forward here. Wanting to get involved in the action. Nexu, Risk is beating me, says John, which is a complete lie. Some lies and subterfuge to try and influence the outcome of the game, I guess. Tends to happen in free-for-alls. Lots of pleading and begging. Many players very shameless in their diplomatic escapades of the free-for-all. Got this wee Sith apprentice role-playing, leading this army. Fluffy rabbit in tears somewhere. These pummels undefended but munching through here. As these astro droids try to slap them. Mounties trying to get involved but getting sim-citied out. This one has arrived though. So they use their flamethrowers to knock them down. And Nexu, the gullible fool here, absolutely believing John. And wrapping right round onto Risk. So now Risk is trapped between two armies, which is not a good look. Being flanked is awful in any war aspect. And the army is a lot more efficient than his. It's got a lot more HP, a lot more range. Overall, much more versatile. But he doesn't have workers with it, so the correct outcome would be to shield yourself absolutely up. and try to pick it apart with attrition. His air cruiser would be good right now. Delay the fight, take as many pot shots as you can and whittle it down. You see the troopers are just dying, they're just funneled into this and getting annihilated. However, there won't be reinforcements as such for Nexu here. It will be difficult for Risk as if John starts to surge forward. He's starting to increase his air cruiser count as well. Air cruiser from Risk. Okay, take some shots here. Mounties would be great from the Gungans here. Got good Mounties. There's not enough strikes and stuff on the field. The Mounties are very cost effective towards the end of a free-for-all game as well, just because it's food and Nova. Nice little air cruiser shot there. Will be difficult for Risk as if units start rallying from this sort of angle into his base. There's that Sith apprentice we saw earlier. The commander's fallen. Should be a retreat for these forces with no one to lead them. So John just waiting, probably cackling to himself. Puppet master, knowing that he's got Nexu to trade all of his forces into Risk here, as he just sits like a fat spider collecting all the resources all across the map. Nexu just rallying forces over here as the speeder shoots at them, blowing them up one by one. Risk struggling to make sense of everything here and get his forces together. There's no sort of focal point for his forces, no shield generator to sit on. I do think that John should be pushing forward with cannons and stuff and just wiping this out and gaining more ground for himself. These famous Nexu pummels killing more walls. Risk is at least able to make assault mechs against this army, as there's no Jedi to steal them from him. You can see the forces rallying into Risk's base now from this angle. They are avoiding this little Glurg boy though, who's going to finish this wall. He's going to hold the door as such, patch it up. So it seems like things are a bit stable now. Risk's okay. He's got some units together. John not really doing much at all. Just waiting and waiting. Playing the long game, I guess. Hoping Nexu and Risk kill each other and weaken themselves, and then he strolls in with his like 20,000 carbon or whatever he's got at this point. How's Nexu doing for money? Well, he's looking flush with the food, flush with the carbon, flush with the Nova. We haven't seen anything yet out of Nexu, I'm guessing. It would be terrifying if you've got your commander here. Just 5 pummels arriving, no, 5 cannons arriving and a transport, and then some air flying over and sniping the poor soul. I wouldn't want my commander that exposed, where you can't really see anything around it. It'd be much better here with the anti-air turrets. Such silence as the forces gather at Risk's gates. Still no shields. The recording's still going, it's not broken. Just nothing happening. It's going to be a long video, I think. Already 34 minutes in. Pain. How much carbon's left on the map? Still not eating this fish. He's got lots up here, which is nice. John's slowly eating all of this around his base, like a plague. Still quite a bit of carbon. This looks like a much more efficient army for Risk here. A lot more mechs, that's what we need to see. We need some shields, some turrets. He might have to be better to put his forces here just now, I guess. On that hill. Secure the hill. It's a nice hill. Great hill. Wonderful hill. And Nexu's charging in. Big force of mech destroyers here. Waltzing in. Gonna start killing the Glargs, gunning them down. And Risk moving at fluffy rabbit speeds. Not a good arc for his units. Nexu's not taking the trade though. I think he could have sniped a few assault mechs there. He wants a hill of his own. Not the rest of his forces, some strike mechs, some MDs. No troopers, not troopers, workers to accompany here though. Build some shields. Sending the units. This speeder. Wow. This guy's getting a lot of kills. Some good trades here on the right hand side with the assault mechs. Really blowing up all those strike mechs. Troopers are taking some shots here from the MDs, letting the assault mechs do more damage. But there's a few units here in the back not involved. Risk does have the defender's advantage. His units are going to get to the front lines quicker to reinforce. And John is still waiting. It's not doing anything. Super passive. Munching carbon. I'm assuming getting lots and lots of Jedi together maybe. It's got all the holocrons by the way. 2. Needed to risk it. 2. So where's the last one? Not too sure. I'm assuming Nexu has it. No. Pretty even for holocron distribution. So Nexu pushing Risk back here as more units arrive for himself. He's got this little hill he can sit on, do more damage, take less damage. Still nothing from John. Basically just sitting there saying, I play winner. These tiny little unit sorties over the carbon wars, over the woods. Trees are love, trees are life. No cannons or anything here, fishing. No shields, no turrets. Just units arriving now and again and having a bit of a fight. Oh! Don't know if these guys just wandered down or were transported in, but they've taken the temple down and stopped Risk's holocron income. That's very good. At the same time, Risk seems to have lost all of his units here. He's not reinforcing too much. I think he might be starving of carbon. Yeah, he's just not really rebuilt his workers at all. I don't think he's managed his economy very well this game, to be honest. I don't know what he's up to with these shenanigans. I think he's maybe just fed up or tired, but he's sort of burning out here. Because he's on 51 workers now. And he's getting boxed into like the bottom corner of the map. He can't pick up any carbon. He's starved out. And these two are just sort of splitting the map now. At Risk's expense. So I would like to see a bit of a change in Nexu's foreign policy here, and maybe start fighting with John. I'm gonna have to speed this up. I'm getting really bored. Come on, boys. Few units wandering about the tree wars. Killing some droids. I don't know. Maybe a bit of a misclick here with some scouts. There's so many of them though, it could be an unironic choice. Let's have a look at the banks. Nexu running out of carbon, but so much Nova. He needs to switch his units out again. Start using that Nova, getting it into an army that you can use. Tons of assault mechs maybe. There's not that many Jedi from what I've seen, seems to only be 4. John hiding his commander here in a turret next to some transports. So Nexu prodding further into Risk's homeland. Putting the nail in the coffin here. John still aggressively waiting. Standing with purpose. Some speeders here joining the tree war as these strikes kill some workers. Still nothing to support the army. Kill the fort. Put Risk out of his misery. And here comes a secret attempt. This may be the budget version of what I described earlier. Pummels instead of cannons. Don't even think the commander's there anymore though. I think it got moved. Down here now. I don't think I can maybe get there. I've got to fly through the fort to do so. I don't know if Risk ever did anything with his transports. Ah, he did. Maybe. Maybe landed here. Tried to kill him. My oh my. Go on, do something. Looks like a last attempt from Risk here. It's never going to be a good trade for him though. Considering the difference in economies. The carbon's really been mined out on this side of the map. There's still nice pockets though that Nexu couldn't eat up, that he sort of rationed for later, up here in the north. But I think he needs to start being a bit smarter with what he does with his carbon. Because he's throwing a lot of it into a very weakened, dying Risk. And he's going to need it if he's going to beat John. Need it to make things like artillery, mechs. To get a good standing army to crush the rebels. Crush that rebel scum. So we've seen the most adventurous thing out of John in the past hour or so. He's moved these troopers over here with some speeders to defend these astro droids as they start eating up this carbon. Fort Knox forces are still up here though, standing by the turrets. He's trying to pretend that he's got his commanders in these, which is one trooper. Or it's some peak efficiency thing. He's learned about how to get extra beams out of the turrets, probably that. So they're actually somewhat fighting each other now. Interesting. Not a good trade for the rebels here, cost effective wise, just because the HP of the units and the strike mechs just sort of almost one tap the troopers. Maybe 1 or 2 shots. But as the units surge forward like that without the defense of the anti-air mobiles, you can pick them off. I'd like to see some just map control, boys. Shields, forts, turrets, just grab up the map. Rally your units there. Bottom side, he's still committed to killing Risk off. As the second army pushes in, Risk trying to micro with probably what little units he's got left now. Just hanging on there. See John starting to build up more units, more air cruisers, so you can get some nice cost-effective shots, blow up a big amount of mechs, basically just delete carbon from existence. Some Padawans going to lead this army. Risk managed to get forward and get some new carbon. Rebuilding things here. Surviving. But Nexu has renewed his marching orders and pushing back into Risk space once again. Sitting on top of this hill. This lone worker, I wonder if he'll ever build a shield or anything to support the army. Would be great. Maybe he's in charge. Maybe he's taken over from that Sith apprentice from earlier. It looks like that little push forward is all we're going to see from John for the next hour again. Just chilling. He's building a turret. Don't think there's anything left on the map here at the top. Still got this Commander Termination squad sitting at the top. The Terminators. Awaiting orders. Risk's army a bit split up here. Gonna have to do something about this eventually. Some command centers coming forward here for Nexu. A lot of carbon, like in this sort of center of the map. You want to be the one that controls that for sure. Lots and lots of trees. People showing this, pressing the show spy location button. Don't think anything happening with it though. This guy commit to killing down that carbon processor. Any shields or nothing. Risk starting to regroup his forces now. He's maybe going to look to take a trade with this army. That's only half of his forces. John building more military buildings now in the sort of area of the map that he's definitely got control of now. Risk sort of given up on this part. Some strikes surging forward, that's going to be really annoying because there's not too much walls left in this area. And they move a lot quicker than the mech destroyers do. Risk into this guy here. Some walls to block out pummels, I think. Nice if they were upgraded. If they were shield walls. I mean, the prefab shelters probably die in seconds, and then you can get about 3 or 4 on the corner here with pummels. Looks like he's built some sort of Terminator squad of his own. 6 pummels and some strike mechs. Maybe a last ditch attempt to put Nexu down rather than fight the army. I feel like it might be better to just go for that first before taking the trade. Because he's going to need these units if he's got any hope in hell. Some hidden air bases up here. Maybe to fund future Terminator missions. So he's moved in here and he's taking the trade now with Nexu's forces. Try to protect what's left of his base. No shields for either player. Just going to come down to the unit arcs. A lot less HP here for Risk and his mechs. But he's got a good arc here, and these guys are not actually shooting at the moment. They're a bit more bunched up as well. So I think he's slowly but surely going to win that fight. Some troopers now coming forward and killing very precious glurglings of Risks here. And it's not being noticed, they're not running away yet. A lot's going down, can't afford that. Jedi coming forward, just going to convert the bases for free. The mech factories, the power core. I think some units here have arrived to reinforce for Nexu. I just won him this trade now. And Risk is a bit stuck now between the two, as he loses what little carbon income he has to the troopers. These units getting on top of things here now. Right, the Terminator squad for Risk is out, flying across the map. Is he still in here? He is. Is he going to notice? For his sake, I hope he does. I think if he doesn't notice in time, the response is going to have to be... Oh, he's moving away now. That's good. I think you'd have to grab every worker, spam repair, and start rallying MDs out here. Oh, he's flying into a turret though. He needs to drop. Oh, one going down. Two going down. Don't know what's in the last one. Oh, he's running away. He needs to run forward. Get him. Newt Gunray has escaped. Looks like he's heading over here. Maybe this will come into play. Where's he going? You could hunt him down. Oh no. Oh, he's got so much health though. These guys split up. It's gonna make it to that command center. Or into a mech. What are you, Nexu? No way! Oh, that's inexcusable. Oh dear. That is an out. There were so many options for him. How that's gotten away from him, I don't know. Could have hidden the mech destroyer, could have garrisoned into the command center. Just click him, G, click. Oh dear. So now it's just Risk against against John here, which is... He ain't got the cash. That is not how I expected things to go. I thought there'd be a bit of a showdown between the two players with the most cash, but John now come to life. He's not playing dead anymore. He's very much alive, lots of money, and the forces are just running in there. There might as well be the red alert theme on right now, as these guys are practically para-dropping into Risk space. Everything coming forward. These guys are moving around, awaiting new orders. They've been waiting all their lives to just kill this Newt Gunray commander. That Nemodian, they're going to have to do something. Risk just throws in the towel. Nothing he can do, he's got no money. Didn't really expect it to go that way, but it did. I guess thankfully to cut the video time down, but an entertaining surprise to say the least. That's the end of the video. If you've liked this, give a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want. Try to post content now and again. It's a very dead game though. Not really anyone plays it. if you do want to play it. You can pick it up off of GOG.com. You get it there. I think you can get it off Steam now as well. It's a very old game, made in the Age of Empires engine. We play it online on Voobly.com. You can play it on Game Ranger as well, but it doesn't have the same features that Voobly.com has, which is our wonderful RVA makes some patches just to improve stability, fix bugs. Here we got a sort of native, like a desktop resolution feature. That's why it looks wonderful rather than the sort of 800 by 600 that the game was originally sort of shipped as. I think it goes up to about 1200, as you can see here. Whereas I've got 1900 here, so you can play that on Voobly.com. You get the patches there, you can launch the game into the single player menu, you can play all your campaigns and stuff in desktop resolution. So I'll see you all in the next video. You can find all the links I've talked about there. There's also a GBG Discord that you'll find in the description as well, if you want to come there and hang out with the people that do play the game. But I do warn you, it's very dead. Anyway, catch you all later. Goodbye.